Tiara Standage, welcome to the Mosaic Project.
Thank you, and thank you for having me.
I want to say we've been kind of back and forth for a couple months
I
now,
was gonna say
and
months,
yeah,
yeah.
kind of back and forth, and just I'm glad it finally worked out, and I'm really excited just to hear some of your thoughts and perspectives, and we're gonna kick this off.
Okay.
Okay, so as we begin, I've told you off camera. You are a very well known person in our community. Um, I think it would be easy for somebody to come to you and say, "I want to interview you because I want to piggyback on your fame or your celebrity or whatever." But the entire reason why I reached out to you is because my biological father died of AIDS, but he contracted HIV through intravenous drug use,
Mhm.
and sometimes I wish I had just a white picket fence story. Like I don't know if you remember Eminem where he's like and they had in 8 Mile, and they had his Clarence's parents had a real nice marriage, and he went to Cranbrook or
And
whatever.
Clarence's parents had a real good marriage.
Yeah. So I don't have a rap battle in in my foreseeable future, but like I really wish I came from this like picture perfect family, but I didn't. And so the fact that you are working with Intricate Minds to help people that find themselves in that position is what initially called me out to you. So I just want to name that as we begin. That's the reason I want to have a conversation.
Mhm.
So let's talk about Intricate Minds
Okay.
and share with us a little bit about that.
Okay, so I founded Intricate Minds in 2023.
Okay.
That was a year after I lost my mother to opioid overdose. Um, it's a harm reduction centered community center. So we operate off of the harm reduction principles, which I don't have memorized. They're like
Okay.
8 or 10 of them.
Okay.
But basically, the gist of it is recognizing and understanding that there will always be people who use drugs,
That's right.
that there are safer ways to use drugs than others,
Mm-hmm.
and that people who use drugs deserve to be alive.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of stigma around drug use, and that stigma leads to dead bodies
That's right.
because people are scared to talk about their drug use. They're scared to seek help. They go to rehabilitation programs, and then when they relapse or mess up, they're scared to admit that because of
Yeah.
all the shame and stigma that is attached to drug use.
Yeah.
Um, so, Intricate Minds is a safe space for those people as well as everyone else. We are a no barrier center, so we don't require anything but a name. I don't even really care if you give me your real name, just
Yeah.
something so I can chart. But we don't require anything from our participants for service.
Hmm.
And one thing that's important is to not require abstinence from drug use
Yeah.
for services,
Yeah.
because people who are still in active use still need public health services, still need their basic needs met, and they're still people. They deserve dignity.
I think that's maybe the rub that in an ideal world for myself as a pastor Christian, kind of how I see the worldview, I don't think I would actually want somebody to use drugs, but it's totally unrealistic
Hmm.
that that's going to like we all have these propensities in life, and we all get caught in different cycles and different things, and I just feel like to just have this unrealistic view, that's not humane. That's just not humane, and I think that's why I appreciate, because I know several people in my life who have really battled with drugs,
Hmm.
and there's these seasons where they're like, I want to get off, and I can't, and like just to throw this unrealistic expectation on them, that doesn't feel human. It doesn't feel good. It doesn't feel genuine.
Hmm.
I don't know.
And I will say the battle with addiction, as I learned from my mother,
Yeah,
is sometimes a lifelong battle.
100%.
And fun fact, people who participate in harm reduction programs are 5 times more likely
Mm,
to seek treatment and kick their habit. And the difference is a lot of people, like I said, back to that stigma,
Yep.
that shame, there's nobody to talk to, there's nobody to express their feelings to.
Mm.
People who use drugs still need to feel loved
Yeah.
at every stage of their journey.
Yeah.
So,
But what do we do culturally? We make movies about them, about how they're the lowest class of degenerates in society, and we ostracize them. So then now we dehumanize them. That's what we do. Across the board, we dehumanize them, and it's like these are people that we all have our thing. We all have this something that we struggle with, whether it's me with food, whether it's somebody with alcohol, whether it's with drugs, maybe it's with people pleasing, but we all have something that we struggle with. And people seem to like be very kind to other people's struggles, but not this one.
mhm. And I will say, I wasn't always a harm reductionist. I was a very angry child. Um, just living a life with a mother that used drugs. And that's a big reason why I founded Intricate Minds. It helps me understand people
Mm,
and their addiction while simultaneously helping those people. But I don't think that my participants know that they help me just as much as I help them. They help me understand addiction. Um, I meet so many cool people. Like
yeah,
that's a key point of what you said, that these are still very much people.
yeah,
Um, I've had participants help me paint, do plumbing work around the place,
yeah.
and community has always taken care of community. And that's kind
Mm.
of the aura of Intricate Minds is we take care of ourselves.
So remind me, when did you start it? 2000,
2023.
2023.
Yeah.
So what have you learned in the last couple years then with this?
The main point is people are people.
Yeah,
Like I said, I spent a lot of my younger adulthood being angry at my mother. And
yeah,
I meet a lot of people who I see a lot of my mother in.
yeah,
They express their feelings about their relationships with their children or their parents, or how their life once was and how they got to go down this road. And
yeah.
their stories are very, very different. Lots
Mm,
of things can happen to people in their lives
mm,
that lead to drug use, and a lot of them are self-medicating,
mm,
trying to numb some kind of pain.
mm,
And people don't like this phrase, but people use drugs because they work until they
mm,
don't.
mm.
Um, if they're looking
That's
to
right. No, that makes sense.
relieve pain, it relieves pain.
Yeah,
If they're looking to, numb some feelings, it
yeah,
works
yeah,
until it doesn't work. And when it doesn't work, it's because people are not using safely and using responsibly.
yeah.
And that's a big part of harm reduction, is getting people past that bump that yes, people are going to use drugs
Yeah,
sometimes all their life, but we can still keep these people safe,
yeah.
and we can still keep these people alive by providing harm reduction services.
Okay, because I'm incredibly naive, do you have critics of Intricate
Oh,
Minds? Do you
yes.
really?
Yes, a
Now, what
lot,
is their criticism though?
that I'm enabling people who use drugs. I try to use harm reduction language. They don't
Yeah.
call them that. But a lot of people think that harm reduction is enabling.
That's interesting because it feels like it's going to happen no
Hmm.
matter what.
Hmm.
It's fantasy world to think that it's just not going to happen. I feel like you're kind of sticking your head in the sand if you think it's not going to happen. So by trying to make it where people don't further harm themselves, it is it that they feel like you're deputizing, like you're saying, yes, I full sail endorse you to use drugs. You're not saying that. You're saying
Yeah.
you're going to do it. I'm just trying to prevent further harm. At least that's how I
Yeah,
understood it.
exactly.
Okay.
I don't know exactly what the critics' thought process is, and
Well, there will always
honestly,
be
that's none
critics
of my
about
business.
everything. Yeah.
Um, you know, um, my business is to keep my participants alive and safe.
Yeah.
Since we've been doing this work with Intricate Minds, the amount of opioid deaths went down, and I believe in 2024 there was 90, in 2025 there was 80. So take a little credit for that.
Okay.
It's not way down like I would
Yeah.
like to see it, but it's going down. Um,
You just now sparked something in me. So if
okay.
what I mean, it is what it is. But like the critics, the people who created all these opioids that I think they're in Kentucky or the Midwest somewhere, they kept all their billions. They got fined some, and then they just kept all their money. And like now it's the world that has to deal with all that. Like there's systemic problems with that. And like to criticize someone on the ground level in the trenches dealing with it is like, and not talk about the greater realities, that's just, I call foul. I
I
call
agree.
foul.
On top of the harm reduction services that I provide at Intricate Minds, I also do a lot of work with drug policy reform
Okay.
because that's a big part of harm reduction. As long as we are criminalizing drug use, there will always be people who use drugs that die. Um, I advocate for safe consumption places where people can go into, it would be something like a clinic, and use their drugs safely. There's nurses on site, there's Narcan on site, and having those conversations with people is can be really different because they're like, "What the heck?"
Yeah.
But when you explain it and how it prevents deaths, I'd rather have why it might not be pretty or
Yeah.
what people imagine as a perfect world.
Yeah.
It's saving people. And I'd rather have my participants safely using drugs in
Yeah.
a monitored environment than in an alley somewhere where nobody's there to monitor them. They're using
Right.
alone, and if they were to overdose, you can't Narcan yourself.
That's probably brand new. That's a brand new concept to me. I think I'll need to take some time to sit with it and parse out my thoughts. And so I have not thought about that. There's actually places where you can go and take and participate in drugs with nurses there. And I guess maybe I hadn't done that part of the work yet. So I need to think on that before I
We'll
speak.
talk more.
Think on that before I
We'll
speak.
talk more.
Yeah, we'll sorry to point my finger. I hate pointing. I'm like, when somebody points their finger at me, I'm like, don't you point your finger at me? Like,
Okay.
but the thing that kind of like really, really stuck out to me, and if you're okay with this, we'll go there. But if not, what does it do to your story when you have so much loss in such a very big way with your mom, and in other fashions? Like, what does that do to you and your soul?
Well, actually, after city council on Tuesday, me and a couple friends sat in my backyard and on my trampoline, which I hadn't done in decades.
Okay.
And we had the conversation. Wow, I'm really, I believe what my friend said was, I just realized that I'm the adult that I always wanted to be as a kid. So part of what drives me to do what I do, on top of all the loss,
Yeah.
is knowing the kind of adults that I needed in my life as a kid and I didn't have. So I really, really strive to be that person that I needed to other people.
You graduated in 2008. So we're kind of in I'm a 2001 graduate. So we're kind of in the same. And because I've gone through two fathers, two have abandoned me. Both have died in very, very, very sad fashion. And I remember when I was younger saying, I'm going to be the best dad I could be. And just that same sentiment. And it's like, it's interesting, the wounds we carry young, how that plays out for us in the future.
I also, one of the harm reduction principles is that people with lived experience are the experts. And that's another thing that I have a hard time getting through to a lot of people. People who use drugs are the experts of people who use drugs. So when I'm at Intricate Minds and I'm making certain safer consumption kits, sometimes I have to ask my participants, like, do you like this or that? I don't know. I don't use drugs, And that lived experience that I have through experiencing my mother's addiction, through being an unhoused youth, losing.
Oh, you were unhoused youth.
Oh, yes.
Okay.
I was actually one of the youngest kids to be emancipated in Springfield, Illinois at the time. I was 15. So, yes, I don't know, I kind of lost track, but a lot of people criticize me, they'll say like, well, one day I'm out here advocating for police violence, advocating against police violence. Then I'm out here for the LGBTQ community. Like, what is her lane? And I don't think that those people realize they're all my lanes. I have lived experience with all of these things, being homeless, having a mother who used drugs, losing my biological father to gun violence. These are all things that have personally affected me as well as molded me into the person that I am. So I carry those things with me at all times.
Two questions on that. I've really enjoying you. You have such a textured life, and I don't rejoice in your textured life because it's brought a lot of pain. But I'm thankful that we're having the conversation. What world are you fighting for? That one first question would be like, what world are you fighting for? Like, you are a very strong advocate. You have this lived experience. What's the worldview that you're pushing for?
Equality.
Equality. What does that look like?
Equal rights. I believe that people who use drugs deserve the same medical treatment, deserve to be treated with dignity. Immigrants, people are people.
Yeah.
I don't want to go into like each and every lane of it because there's a lot.
The overarching thing would be equality.
Yeah, that people should be treated like people.
Yeah.
And it's so simple when you say it like that, but we live in a world where that seems so hard to do.
Yeah, that is very true. It's like I get very baffled at times that the world is hard enough. Can we be kind ahead of time? And but the second thing I'd want to know is so you're well known in our community for being an advocate. Like that's as I've done my research on you, you're very well known. What does that do to your soul? I go through just a small bit of conflict in my little piece of the corner of the world. It seems like you've had conflict for a very long time, pushing for this world of equality, pushing for other things. What does that do to your soul?
Oh, well, she hates when I do this, but I'm going to quote Dr. Lisa Johnson.
Okay.
She says that when you start to make racists feel uncomfortable, something good is about to happen. So to me, it's more important to speak truth to power.
Sure.
And make the people feel uncomfortable with that than to constantly see my people as well as myself live in a state of uncomfortability due to those injustices. And I feel like as a child, I was silenced a bit about things that happened to me. And I just kind of made a vow to, use my big mouth to speak out for people who have lost their voice along the way.
Okay. So that is true that you are definitely, you're like, speak truth to power, don't stop. But does it take a hit on your soul at times? I mean, like I look at you and you're doing all this wonderful work in the community and you are an advocate and you are very visible. So just being visible, I feel like that takes a toll on your soul at times. And like, how do you heal? How do you have times where you pull away and recenter? Like, I don't know.
I try. I'm very spiritual. I do a lot of grounding. I like to have my feet in the grass. There are some days where I just kind of ground myself from electronics. Like, I know we say social media, but everything. My phone, my computer, my TV.
Good.
And just being one with nature, spending one-on-one time with my kids.
Okay.
But it does get hard sometimes, but I don't know. I'm a Black woman. It's like, if I don't do it, who's going to do it? It has to be done. Without the uncomfortability of things, change doesn't come. And people don't change until they're pushed outside of their comfort zone.
That's very true.
Yeah.
That's very true. People don't change until people just keep forcing the issue, and everybody, it's privilege who wants to just sweep it away, right? And just, I don't want to talk about it. We don't need to talk about it.
And that's one of my main things as well. I grew up in the early 90s and just with within my generation, as well as the Black community, I feel like a lot of things were swept under the rug and people were protected who caused harm, you
Yeah.
know? And I don't know, I just feel like that silent culture is over.
Yeah.
We're not protecting people who cause harm. We're letting it be known, hey, this person is harmful. You know, there is the restorative justice end of it of, okay,
Mm-hmm.
if this person is causing harm, who harmed them and what can we do about it?
Mm-hmm.
But making that initial call is what starts that process
Mm.
of healing the harm, healing the people who are causing the harm. And sometimes people don't want to be healed. Sometimes they
Mm.
just need to be outed as harmful and so that people can be aware and protected against that harm.
One of my favorite Bible verses is is Proverbs 22, and it says, "As a dog, like people are like a dog that returns to vomit." Because people will go back to do the same harmful thing, and some of that is toxic behaviors,
Mm-hmm.
and we need to know that they are going to go back to the vomit, and we have to put up boundaries, and we have to know that that is part of human nature, that they're going to go back. If the gossip is a gossiper, they're out, oftentimes they'll always gossip. Or if
Mm-hmm.
they're violent, I'm not saying there's not healing in people being changing the situation, but oftentimes that's coming back. So we have to know that people will go back to these tendencies, and we got to put up those boundaries. And
Mm-hmm.
boundaries are important.
Yes.
The older I get, the boundaries are very, very
Very
important.
important. And that goes back to what you asked me about, you know, protecting myself and stuff. That's a big part of it is
Yeah.
setting boundaries,
Yeah.
knowing when, look, I just can't deal with this person.
Mm.
It's not my bag. you know, like
Yeah.
there's a lot of things I can do, and then there's a few things that I won't do. And um, for lack of better words, just like arguing with the willfully ignorant people who don't
Mm.
want to hear the truth,
Mm-hmm.
who don't want to see change. They're happy with the way things are. Those are the people that, you know, you can talk until you're blue in the face and
Yeah.
their thought process is not going to change.
Yeah.
But people who are willing to listen, willing to learn, I'm always willing to provide that education for a better outcome of our whole community.
Do you have somebody that like they disagree with you, but they took the time to try to listen to you?
Yeah.
Has that happened before?
Yeah, it happens a lot.
Does okay,
Yeah.
good. I don't know anymore with people. Is it
Yeah.
like sometimes some days I wake up and I'm like humanity's great, and then other days I'm like we are all going like this is horrible. Like we've lost touch with one another, and we don't do that very thing.
I feel like I don't know, maybe I'm intimidating to some people, but I feel like if for the most part, if people take the time to sit down and talk to me, we
Yeah.
usually have a very productive conversation.
Mm.
And then there's people that are like, "Ooh, she's scary. I'm not going to talk to her," you know. So the conversations that I do have, even if we are not aligned in our opinions,
Yeah.
are usually very productive
Yeah.
conversations.
It's okay to disagree in
Yeah.
this world, and we might see each other's position as harmful, but we can disagree, but we don't always have to be disagreeable.
Mm-hmm.
And now there's nuances to that. I really do understand that, but for a large part, we can disagree and say, I don't think you're my enemy.
Yeah,
And
it's okay to disagree with somebody and, you know, not be enemies. Or, like you said, just agree to disagree. But then there's like the other end of that. When people talk about meeting in the middle, there's certain things that I can't meet in the middle about.
yeah,
Racism.
yeah, that's the new.
You
You're
know,
right. Yeah,
and there are certain things. You know, when people are being homophobic or racist and stuff,
yeah,
that's kind of where I draw the line is like you can disagree with somebody's
yeah.
lifestyle, but you don't get to treat that person like they're not a human.
Even in this very moment, you countered a thought, and I accept it, and I acquiesce, and I say, yeah, you're right. Like so, like that could even be a privileged statement that I said. It's okay to disagree, but we don't have to be disagreeable. Maybe that's not so true on racism, and maybe that's not so true on other things. And so, see, but this is like what the world is supposed to be like, is
Mm-hmm.
like back and forth, and oh, that's right, you said that, and I internalize that, and yep, I receive it. And so Hopefully that comes out of this conversation if somebody
Yeah.
watches it. Here's the other thing I'd want to say is, or ask if that's okay. I don't know if I represent the white church. I don't know if there's a white or black church. I'm sure people will be like, there's no such thing. But there
There
is.
is.
There is.
There is.
I'm actually half Hispanic. So, but like, I think because I'm tall, loud, whatever. What would you want to say to the white church from your experience, your lived experience? Part of this whole thing is like me learning the community, me learn. I want to learn. I want to know. I want to hear perspectives. What would you want to say?
Allies are not self-appointed.
Ooh. Can you parse? Okay. Can you parse that out for me?
Yes. Ooh, okay, I'm gonna try to be careful with
Okay.
this one.
Okay.
There are a lot of just well-meaning white folks who want to help. And the best way to do that is to open your eyes, open your ears, and go out into the Black community and listen to those people. Listen to what their needs are. Listen to what their struggles are. Instead of self-diagnosing what you think is the problem and then trying to fix it and slapping a label on yourself or a bracelet or a sticker, and thinking that you're an ally. Allies are people who stand in the trenches with us.
I think getting to know you and watching you, one, I'm sorry you have so many hateful comments.
It's okay. They'll be all right.
I know you are going to be all right, but I can still say I don't like that. I don't wish
Yeah.
that on anybody. But I really appreciate your courage, and I love that when people do something different. And so I appreciate that to make our community better.
Thank you. And thank you for what you're doing because it's different as well. No, for real, I feel like it's highlighting people in the community who do a lot of good things and might not get the recognition that they deserve. So this is a really cool project, and I'm really honored to be a part of the Mosaic Project. So thank you for inviting me.
Right on.